Good morning. Welcome to Taps and Takes, episode 5, live from Groggs Traditional Irish Pub, right here in the northeast corner. That's right.
Had to look at your compass real quick.
I'm really bad at geography, but I was like, yeah, northeast corner. Northeast corner of Willow and Knees. Come on down. Get yourself a pint. Or if you are a sober Sally like me, a Guinness Zero.
Oh.
Or
if you're a alcoholic adjacent person like myself, a beautiful pint of Guinness.
Oh.
Should we cheers it?
Yeah, let's cheers. Okay.
Clink, clink.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. That tastes just like Guinness. You know, like some non-alcoholic beers?
I missed it.
It's okay. It's okay, but you got Guinness.
Just got more to get to.
You got Guinness in your bloodstream, dude. That's what matters, right? Oh, my God. Anyways, there's a lot to get to, and we got a big announcement. Should we just do it right now?
We can do it.
Should we just talk about it right now?
Want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
As of minute of recording, Elliott, what's the countdown to St. Patrick's Day?
I believe it is 23 days, 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 50 seconds. I don't know how accurate that is, but we're going to say it's pretty accurate.
When that clock gets to 0, I am happy to announce that the Do-Over podcast
That's right.
is going to be taking over Groggs, maybe, on St. Patrick's Day. Now, if you're aware, because St. Patrick's Day at Groggs gets kind of wild.
Yeah, it's kind of the hot spot.
It is the hot spot, and it does get wild. And, you know, Royce, the owner, does everything by having like extra space, a beer garden for everyone to be able to get served and enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Well, we were like, hey, you know what would be cool? If we inserted ourselves right in the middle of it and made it difficult for people.
We just put ourselves right at the front.
Yep, just right
at the front.
There. You know, I was like, here's the door. We're going to be right there.
Just going to be right there.
So me, Elliott, Jess, Orky, maybe Colleen. We're going to have Jess day drinking. We're going to have Eddy Rouse out here, hopefully. Also day drinking. Phone. You hear it all.
Sorry, that was just the latest episode of the Do-Over podcast, now up. So
you mean episode 7 of the Do-Over podcast?
I've stopped putting numbers on it.
Should we stop the counting?
Think so. I think we should just leave it at names.
Just leave it at names.
I think we should.
I mean, we can.
I thought I had a great name for today's episode.
What?
It was Chicken Pot Bull.
Well, no, we started off with Jess talking about how she somehow gets in car accidents while she's parked all the time. So
there's a joke somewhere.
But
you know what? I'm bigger than that.
You are, Elliott.
I am.
And you're also a little bit larger in size.
Well, that's just my beefy arms and shoulders. That's all. So I'm cultivating mass.
We also talk about a brand new diet that we're going to be doing and a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the March to Maui, starting March 2nd.
March 2nd. The day after Dungeons and Do-Overs from Dragon's Horde. So there's a lot coming up.
We got so much going on.
On the next podcast, we're also going to be talking about another event that we're going to be out at, because look at us. Who would have thought that we would have gotten more popular?
We're just whoring ourselves out there.
We're whoring ourselves out, and we're getting even more popular after we lost the radio show. Crazy.
I mean, we've just been super lovable.
We are lovable people.
And now we're like Pitbull, but online. We're Mr. World Web.
Mr. World Web.
Mr. World Web.
Now, Elliott.
Yes.
With Taps and Takes, we do all the good stuff that is done on Fridays, which is the nerd news and the sports news. The first half is nerd news, second half is sports news. Now, what we got on the nerd news front?
We got a lot of stuff going on. I've got a couple of stories here, closer to 7. So, we'll get to them. Let's start, though, with Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Probably the most talked about movie of the year so far. I mean, Matt Damon's in it. Zendaya's in it. Tom Holland's in it. It feels like everybody's getting announced to be in this movie. Well, the first look of Matt Damon's Odysseus has been released, and there's already some people complaining because the Odyssey talks about what Odysseus wore, and instead Hollywood went with the classic broom helmet that they give every ancient Rome and Greece character.
So
it's the Mohawk, the broom Mohawk helmet. Yeah. And I think he looks awesome. I get it. You want the tusk in the helmet. You want that old school ancient Greece armor. I get all that, but like, come on, it's Christopher Nolan. This movie's going to be awesome.
That's kind of what I'm thinking immediately when you said this, because I didn't even know that this discourse was going on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Christopher Nolan. Like, who cares? They could be in business suits and this movie's going to be
it's
good.
It's still going to be good. I know.
It's still going to be good, man. Like,
they could call him Odie instead of Odysseus.
Yeah.
And it'd still be a good movie.
And he is... Okay, let's talk about the best directors working right now.
Okay.
You have Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
Is he the best? Or is Denny the best? I think the best director without an Academy Award is Denny, right? I think that Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Villeneuve. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Elliot, and we'll talk about this on the next episode, I went back because of all the Oscar controversy shit. So I was like, hey, go back, watch Dune 2. Dune 2 is one of the best movies ever made.
Well, go back.
Like, I'm talking not even like in a stretch of time. I'm talking period. It's one of the best. And if you look at both films side by side, it's one of the best. Like, I know it's going to be a trilogy technically.
Right.
But for a part one and a part two, it is one of the best collection of films ever made.
Oh, yeah. But
ever made.
At the end of the day, Dune trilogy will probably be looked upon the same way we look at the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A perfect trilogy.
Yeah.
A perfect trilogy.
And yeah, they had to do some changes for the source material, but it was for the better in terms of making a film.
Right.
But how they made it, what is largely considered an unfilmable book. Like, you cannot film properly Dune, right? That was everyone's assumption.
Right.
Cannot do this and give it any kind of justice at all because it's unfilmable. And then Denny comes in with his director of cinematography, because the cinematography in that film is insane.
That, I believe, will win the Oscar.
Yeah.
I think cinematography goes to Dune 2, and it's not even close.
Dude, it is a perfect set of movies, and it's one of the best collection of films ever made. How it got kind of so screwed over,
I don't get it.
I don't understand it. You don't make statements when it comes like, okay, let's get in a little bit deeper. I'm down for the deep dives on Taps and Takes early in the morning, Elliot.
All right, sure. Let's
get even deeper.
Dive on in.
Let's say Hollywood, which is the conspiracy going around right now, is that they're making a statement because of Trump and that.
Well, they're also thinking now that the Oscars have more of an international presence. They're thinking international films are actually kind of like the front runners moving forward, which I don't necessarily get. At the end of the day, I think you just have to go with the best movie.
This is the problem.
Like, I thought that was the whole point.
If you want to make some kind of a statement, fine, whatever. However, when you are recognizing excellence in film and you are putting people that worked on these films on a pedestal to say you made the best of the best, you don't use that platform as a way to make some kind of a social or political statement.
Right.
That's bullshit, because you're basically ignoring the whole point. The whole point is these people made something that's so excellent that you have to say is the best of the year that was made.
Right.
You don't make a political or social statement by screwing those people over. That's such bullshit.
Well, and it's not even like a foreign film thing, because we've seen foreign films win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Like Parasite, I just saw last year. That might be one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That movie's incredible. From start to finish, that movie is incredible. And it's not because it's foreign. It's because it's just a great movie.
Right.
You know, and you see Dune 2. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen Brutalist. I've heard a lot of people loving Brutalist. So,
but Brutalist is like an art film. You know what I mean? And it looks great. Like, I saw the trailer for it.
Well, and that's kind of like what old Oscars were. They were kind of like actor movies for somebody to win Best
shot
Actor.
on film. It was, I think it was shot in 50 mil or something like that. Like, it was shot on film, and it looks great.
My thing is, like, Dune, I think the biggest thing I don't like about the Dune Discord for the Oscars, discourse, pardon me, is that Timothée Chalamet didn't get nominated for this role.
That is insane.
And like, hey, I'm happy he got nominated for his other movie, the Bob Dylan autobiography or autopic or autofilm, whatever. But I never saw him as like this commanding figure kind of actor, you know? But he proved everybody wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He proved everybody wrong with this movie, with Dune 2. And he's only going to get better. And it sucks because he's probably going to be runner-up again for like his third or fourth time. And he's even acknowledged it on like SNL when he hosted it. He was like, I'm always the runner-up at these Oscars. And I can't hide it anymore. I can't hide it.
He was a runner-up at his own like lookalike contest, wasn't he?
Yeah, he didn't win.
Yeah, he didn't win.
He didn't win, which is hilarious.
The thing about Timothée Chalamet, when they announced that he was going to be doing it, I wasn't familiar with like a lot of his work. And then I saw pictures of him and I was like, this kid? When Dune came out, I was like, oh, that kid. And then when Dune 2 came out, I'm like, I feel in my heart of hearts that he has the potential to be another Daniel Day-Lewis. Like that guy that whenever he steps foot on any project,
it's going to be good.
It's going to be so good.
He made Willy Wonka good again. And we thought that was impossible.
Yeah. So, here's to say the best director working right now without an Oscar is definitely Denny. And Christopher Nolan, even though all of this was brought on by internet discourse over a fucking helmet, Christopher Nolan's going to crush any project. So that's probably one of the most, the film that I'm most excited for coming up that's been announced that's a ways down the road is the Odyssey.
Yeah, no, that Batman Part 2, we'll get to that, and Superman are my probably like top 3.
Right.
Although don't sleep on Cobra Kai. I will say for me, my favorite director working just because of how much I love the films is George Miller. He did Furiosa, he did Mad Max, Fury Road. Those are 2 of my favorite action movies of the last decade. They are incredible. And
I slept on Mad Max, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is what everyone was talking about.
Yes, Fury Road might be the best action movie of the last decade.
Yeah.
I think it is easily the best action movie of the last 10, 12 years. And then Furiosa, I get so angry
that
it didn't perform.
Yeah.
I get so angry, and I don't want to be that guy that says it's because a woman is the lead. A part of me kind of thinks it is, though, and that's so unfair to Anya Taylor-Joy because she was phenomenal.
And she's such a good actress, dude.
Her newest project with Miles Teller, 93% score on Apple TV.
What is it? It's
called the Gorge.
The Gorge. I heard the Gorge was great.
I hear it's incredible, and I don't get why people just aren't backing Anya Taylor. I can't even say her name.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah,
she was in Queen's Gambit. Have you seen Queen's Gambit?
I have it. She was
Gambit.
She was in The Menu, and she was phenomenal.
You have to watch Queen's Gambit, dude. That's what really put her on the map because that it's a series,
So does she like play the queen and then like Gambit appears? And
he's like, oh, mon chéri.
Oh, mon chéri.
Mon ami.
You may not be rogue, but I love you.
I throw things. How
about I throw you my DMs?
So it's about this girl that is, growing up in foster care because I think her parents passed away. And she ends up befriending the janitor there, and he plays chess. So she's interested in learning the game of chess, but then she turns out to be like a chess prodigy. But then she also gets addicted to like Quaaludes or pills.
Okay.
And it helps her kind of work through, chess. And then it's about her just being this chess phenom. And it's incredible.
So it's like if the Wolf of Wall Street just played chess and was a hot chick.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay,
but it's about her like overcoming like her fear of like becoming the best. You know what I mean? And it was just meant for one season. And here's the other thing. This is why the internet sucks, dude. The internet can do like good things, and then the internet can be doing bad things. Like for example, critiquing one of the best directors ever working, saying that a helmet's going to ruin the movie because that's where the internet sucks. People were bitching, saying like, oh, Queen's Gambit's not getting a second season because it's a woman-led project. It was written, shot, and conceived as a single season of
one-off.
television.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
If it's great television, it's okay for when a story ends.
Like, the internet needs to calm the fuck down, man.
It does. It really does.
All right, what else we got?
Captain America, Brave New World. You either love this movie, you hate this movie, or you haven't seen this movie. There's no in between, really.
I feel like there's going to be a big drop-off
probably
this weekend, and I feel bad for it.
Let's give credit where credit's due. $192.4 million altogether, international and domestic. That's huge.
It is a Marvel film. There is a Red Hulk in it. You know
there
what I mean?
is, right. And, a lot of people are giving it, like I said, very mixed reviews. I've just never been a big Falcon fan, so I don't feel the need to go in the theaters and see it. So I guess I'm part of the problem too. But
I was thinking about checking it out the other day because I was like, I hear that it's not that great of a film. The dialogue is choppy. There was a lot of the original kind of plot that was cut out, characters that were cut out in order to go from New World Order to Brave New World or something.
Yeah.
What I do like is that it seems as though that the conflict, from what I'm understanding, is all surrounded like the discovery of adamantium, right? Which for me is like, okay, the idea of the Red Hulk's cool.
Yeah.
And all right.
I hear the acting's not the problem. I hear it's a lot of the story points and the dialogue's kind of clunky, but I also hear the action's awesome.
Yeah, I hear the action's awesome. And you know what? If it's a good romp, for a couple hours and it's like, fine, I'll still go check it out. What I do like, though, is that finally, after all this time, dude, like, we've been waiting so long, and I was actually getting hyped watching the Fantastic Four trailer the other day, and it's weird because when I first saw it, I was like, okay. And then I watched it again. I'm like, okay.
See,
but dude, every subsequent watch of that trailer, I'm getting so much more excited because I'm like, we need to be on the precipice of a new era for Marvel. And honestly, mediocre movie fatigue. Yes. Like, if you just give out like mid movies, mid TV shows, people are going to like just be like, well, whatever. Because they were just putting banger out of banger, every single time.
The fact that Marvel went on like a 10-year run of constant gold.
Yes.
You've never seen in Hollywood.
However, I feel like after 10 years, we were just kind of done with these characters for the time being.
I think and this just goes to show how good the MCU was, right? They went on such a run that when Endgame finally happened, if they said, we're not going to make another movie for 20 years, everybody would have been okay with it because it was just...
let's not be hyperbolic. I don't think everyone would have been okay with it, but they could have stopped, retooled, and gave us something new.
Yeah.
And I know for business purposes, this is where business and art meet.
Mm-hmm.
For business purposes, they needed to keep on making content to keep on making money. But I feel like after 10 years, the Avengers story and characters were told.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they were not so soft-handed with bringing in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
I think after in Endgame, you shouldn't have done another Avengers-related character movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of agree with that.
And they did Shang-Chi, which was awesome.
Yeah.
They did Eternals,
but they did Shang-Chi, 5 years ago?
Yeah. No, I know. The timeline's way off. But I mean, like, Spider-Man, I don't really count him as an Avenger. But like,
even though he is. He is an Avenger.
But he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, his movie, and everybody said it was just like member berries. It was great.
Or, like, maybe do really cool Elseworlds one-offs. Whereas, okay, you know what would have been cooler? Okay, so they were setting up Kang, and I truly honestly believe that he was not the problem with...
Hell, they might still set up Kang.
The multiverse saga, the whole Kang thing, I actually thought, the actor was incredible. But what would have been cool to set up like a multiverse, instead of having like a storyline and everything that wrapped around it, just give us Elseworlds one-offs, right? Give us Ultimate's Miles Morales movie. Yeah. Give us like an Ultimate X-Men movie. It doesn't need to be the characters that you're going to be having like be there, but like you can pick weird stories that are not in the mainline universe to set up like, why are all these people existing? Then you do a movie that's like, oh, you're a part of a multiverse. Here's Doomsday and all that.
I don't know.
I think they did it backwards, dude.
Let me ask you, do you think they had a plan after Endgame?
Yeah. No. I think that they had a plan, but it was not executed the way that they needed it to be. And the writing and dialogue and shooting of these films was kind of rough. And I feel like there's also, like I said, character fatigue. I feel like there's character fatigue because, dude, we've gotten 10 years of Iron Man Avengers.
Right.
Okay, we got it. You know, when you don't have an RDJ, when you don't have a Chris Evans that are the frontmen of these, you know, properties, you lose something with these ancillary characters. Like, you need like a Ryan Reynolds Wolverine team up movie because those are front men, right? Everyone else. And I love like Thor. I love the Hemsworth.
They botched him.
I still had fun with that movie. They botched Gore. Gore, the God Butcher, is one of the sickest villains in comic book history. Well, and they fucked that so bad, dude.
And you had Christian Bale. And you whiffed on
and
it
you
so hard.
You one-offed on him? Like, dude, Gore.
But that's always been the Marvel problem. They one-off villains.
So I think it was just more so Avengers fatigue than anything, dude, to be honest. I think we've been there. Like, we don't need more kind of
Avengers
Falcon movies. We don't need that. What we need is something fresh and new for the MCU. And it's taking them too long. Like, if you think about it, I brought this up a couple episodes ago. If you think about it, if they're not going to do an X-Men movie until after Doomsday, until after these Avengers movies that are coming out, and because they're setting up like Secret Wars and stuff,
right,
we will not get an X-Men movie for probably 10 years.
We're not getting one until 2030.
2030. Like, that's a mistake.
That's a whiff.
I
think Fantastic Four and X-Men should have been the next two properties after Endgame.
Yes. I 100 bazillion %
like
agree with you.
Spider-Man. I totally get why you put Spider-Man in.
You can still make Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, for sure. And like, although I didn't like the movie, I thought it was probably the worst movie since Endgame. Or I'm not saying Endgame's bad, but the worst movie after Endgame.
Yeah.
The Multiverse of Madness, how stupid it was, it sets up the multiverse. I totally get that.
Right.
It sucked, but I mean, like, it had a purpose. That's where you introduce, like, and that's where you did. You introduced Professor X.
Right.
And you introduced the Fantastic Four. Right. And then you do nothing with it.
Nothing.
For years.
Oh, for 10.
No, I'm sorry. You tease wait. Miss Marvel.
And like, look,
are you a mutant?
I understand that you had things like, okay, let's call a spade, right? Okay, you had the strikes, yeah, COVID. Yeah, that'll slow things down. But like, honestly, getting an X-Men movie off the ground, I'm sure you could have got dope ass scripts to get this done. I'm sure I believe that they already have the casting done.
Really?
Oh, I think they have it done, and they're being so tight-lipped about who's going to be playing what. I feel like the casting's done. And to be so tight-handed with this, I think is a big kind of misstep for Marvel in general. And like, there has been some, shining examples of like when people do something right. Like Agatha was great as far as the TV shows are concerned.
Loki doing a heavy carry until Daredevil comes out, and Daredevil looks awesome.
Loki season 1 and 2 was incredible. I loved the Loki series. I love Werewolf by Night. It was so
out of nowhere.
But see, like that's what they should have been doing. They should have been like, here's a weird Marvel one-off, not $50 million, $80 million film. And not everything has to be a $300 or $300 million movie.
And that leads me to the next point of Captain America. It's like, it's projected it needs to make $425 million to break even. And now, lucky for them, opening weekend, they got close to $200 million. So
worldwide, though.
I know, but I mean, they're still not even halfway there.
No.
Good luck.
Yeah. So what else we got?
Dune Messiah is set to start filming
a year early.
Yeah, it's set filming this year in June. It's supposed to start this summer, which is fantastic news for Dune fans. Robert Patterson has read the script for Batman 2. He says it's incredible, which, duh, it is.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, though. Pat, we love you. Please start filming.
You know what? What's funny about Pat is that, yeah, he had all the sparkly Batman bullshit, but like he's such a good actor that, and he did some really crazy like indie films, and he's doing this one where he's like a clone of a dude that like dies all the time.
Mickey 17.
Mickey 17.
Getting great reviews already.
And like, here's the thing. He's such like a crazy, like he's picking Lighthouse. He was picking all these kind of crazy roles that if I hear, hey, this script is incredible, I actually believe him. Like and you know, most actors be like, yeah, read the script, it's incredible. They're just bullshit. I feel like he has enough artistic integrity that if he says it's incredible, I kind of believe him.
Well, what's funny is because like him and Kristen Stewart started their careers essentially together with like Twilight, right?
Twilight, yeah.
But they both kind of went on this like indie film spiritual journey as actors and actresses. And they're both incredible actors in their own right. And so it's funny now that they're both kind of back in the spotlight of becoming in like major things. I'm pretty sure Kristen Stewart is one of the voices in Invincible.
Is she?
I believe so. I saw an interview with her and Steven Yeun. So I believe she might be in Invincible or being a part of a project he's in with her. But the fact that they're both now getting back into like mainstream fame while also still following like their indie film like love, I think is so cool. I think they're one of the two cooler actors of the last like 15, 20 years.
I don't think she's in Invincible.
She was in a project with Steven Yeun. I just can't figure out which one it was then. I would imagine.
Well, he's also another guy that does like crazy like indie films.
And he's in Mickey 17.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor. When they announced him as Sentry, I was so in on Steven Yeun being Sentry.
I'm just in on anything he does.
Well, I was kind of upset when he had to pull out of the role. And like the Sentry and like the Thunderbolts, I still think it'll be sick, but I think Steven Yeun would have fucking crushed that so hardcore.
Especially because he's playing Invincible now, whose like morals are he's trying to do the best he can with the power of a god, essentially.
Right.
But if you had him as like the Void, who's this like emotionally corrupted character, it's almost like an alter ego of Mark, and that would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
A couple of other things. Walt Goggins, White Lotus season 3 came out.
Can't do wrong. Walt Goggins is the man.
Walt Goggins is the man.
He's just the man, dude.
So he's in season 3 of White Lotus.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. He's great.
So wait, you're watching White Lotus. Sarah's telling me to watch it. I'm like, I don't know if I
Well, the good thing about White Lotus, from what I'm understanding, you don't need to watch season 1 or 2. You can just go into them because they're their own stories. They're in 3 different locations. There's Hawaii, Italy, and now Thailand.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Walt Goggins is in Thailand.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you get some Goggins action in Thailand. See what shit he's going to get up to.
I'm intrigued. It's not as intriguing, I would say, as Severance, where you're constantly thinking like, oh, who's that? What's he doing?
Or like, what is this? Like, you don't have to intentionally watch it to the point where it's like...
I think you should, because you're trying to set up what's going to happen and who's going to happen to what.
Right.
So I'm in Severance brain when I watch it because I'm like, oh, he's this, so he's going to do that and that. So Walt Goggins, right. But Walt Goggins also, the ghoul in Fallout.
Right.
Fallout season 2, getting closer and closer. He also came out and said, we all know you thought season 1 was awesome, right? Blows it out of the water.
Season 2?
Season 2 is going to be some of the best TV you've watched.
He's also,
and I believe him.
He's also Baby Billy in The Righteous Gemstones. And they're going to be coming out with their final season.
Well, he's also, he's like the vice principal in that show, Principal with Danny.
Yes.
Dude, he's just HBO's guy.
Dude, and he's also just the like,
he really is.
I've been such a huge fan of Walt Goggins since Justified. He hard carried him and Timothy Olyphant together. Were such an amazing kind of foil to one another.
And he's also Cecil in Invincible.
Yeah.
He can't miss.
Dude, he can't. He's just that good. And you know what? He's also just a great guy. Like, if you look at all of his interviews and stuff, he's really just like that. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like old distinguished Hollywood men.
Yeah.
Like that's who Walt Goggins is, you know, and he kind of looks a little crazy, but that helps his character acting. You know what I mean?
Well, and he also like,
but he cleans up so like distinguished. It's hard to explain.
You know what the funniest thing about Walt is? Because you're right. He's got that old Hollywood kind of vibe as like an old school actor, right?
Yeah.
But he also seems like the kind of guy you could have a scotch with or a beer with at a bar.
Oh, dude.
At like a random Tuesday afternoon at a tiki hut.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, this is the best time of my life.
Yeah, this is the greatest guy.
Yeah. And then my last story here is House of Dragons Season 3 is set to open with one of the bloodiest battles in all of Game of Thrones lore. It's the naval battle known as the Battle of the Gullet.
Yeah.
So House of Dragons Season 3 about to start with an absolute banger of an opening.
I'm worried about... So there was... I don't know if you saw anything on this, but George R.R. Martin went and like wrote a whole dissertation about...
Didn't he say like he hated House of Dragon
He
or
was
something?
upset with some of the changes that they had to make for House of the Dragon. And then the showrunner like literally went on a podcast and addressed them directly about the reason why he has to make certain changes, about certain characters that had to be, taken out, right? Just because of the way that they had to do it in order to make sense as far as like a television show is concerned. Because remember, you have 8 1-hour episodes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you're telling a story of a book that's very dense. Like George R.R. Martin's a very dense author.
Oh, yeah.
He writes densely. So all of the interconnecting like characters and stuff like that, and what those characters go through, that in turn gives motivation to others. It is those people that read the books, that are really into the books, take that shit really seriously. And George R.R. Martin, as being an author, right, who created these characters, who does understand like, hey, certain changes need to be made in order to facilitate a TV show. He understands that. But at the same time, it's like he's getting so hyper fixated on something that it's like one character, it's like one of the kids who's young ends up like dying, and it gives motivation to one of the other characters to do something.
Okay.
But I'm like, yeah, but the showrunners can figure out a way to make that work. You know what I mean? Like, I love House of Dragon. I think, honest to God, this is going to be a hot take. I think House of the Dragon is better than Game of Thrones. Like,
well, I mean,
I think the level of excellence of what it is and how good it's been has been better than Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a little unfair just because there was 8 seasons of the original Game of Thrones.
There was 8 seasons, and like the last couple seasons, I enjoyed them just fine. A lot of people, a lot of book readers hated them.
I wouldn't say I hated them. I just felt like I'm just saying for me, I think the final season of Game of Thrones just felt a little jank.
Okay, it's parts of it were a little jank. What most people were bitching about is that Daenerys went insane. They were foreshadowing her descent into madness from the start. From the fucking start. They were putting in the little teases of her going insane. They were doing that from the fucking beginning. And dude, they were working off George R.R. Martin's own notes. His own notes. So, and you know why that motherfucker is not finishing these books? Is because it is roughly the same outcome. And he doesn't want to finish it because of the ire that the show got. Maybe it's better that he just doesn't finish it, so the headcanon for all the nerd boys and girls.
Well, I feel like you should finish it for yourself at least.
Oh, no. I think he definitely should finish it. I think he's f***ing over his fans.
It would be funny, though, if you like waited until you died to then release it, so you literally can't get any criticism.
You don't have to get the criticism. You're like, I'm dead and gone.
I'm going to, since we're on the topic of HBO and criticisms, I am going to say I finally finished Sopranos.
Yeah.
There's a lot to criticize at that finale.
Okay, hold on, save it.
I'm not going to dive into. Well, I know we have a few people that are watching it now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Really?
I get it.
I want you to save that for the next episode of the Do Over podcast, because I want to get into it with you. Yeah.
Genuine disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You had 21 episodes. You had more episodes than you've ever had in any season.
Oh, there was 21 episodes.
21 episodes in season 6. There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
We'll talk about that on the next episode of the Do Over podcast. Do stay here because we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with some sports news, baby. Big shout out to Groggs Traditional Irish Pub, found right there on the northeast corner of Willow and Nees. Go by, tell them that the Do Over sent you, drink some Guinness, take a shot at JMO, get that pickle back like Jess did this episode. Yeesh. But literally, they're the absolute best. I love Groggs. And remember, St. Paddy's Day is coming up. Get ready. Big shout out to Groggs Traditional Irish Pub.
Shout out,
Remember,
Groggs.
we're counting down literal to the day, to the minute,
To the teat.
to the T that we're going to be taking over Groggs. Well, kind of. I'm pretty sure all the patrons will be taking over, but we will be in a corner doing a podcast live on St. Patrick's Day. More details on that to come, but I cannot wait. It's going to be a blast.
We're going to be in the cut corner.
Yeah.
While everybody's having fun at St. Patrick's, we're just going to be watching.
No. I'm expecting you to do some hardcore day drinking during that.
I want
Tis
to.
the season, Elliot.
It's not that I don't want to. I'm just nervous that I'm going to be like, yeah, I got off work. I got that first like half of the day covered for work.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know about the back corner. I have a feeling they're going to be like, well, we still need you to work.
Well,
and I'm
the
like,
back half.
well, your boy needs some money, so let's get going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, I'm just a little bit loose. It's going to make me better
I'm
at
going
my
to be the
job.
best bartender you've ever seen.
It's going to make me so much better at my job.
Exactly.
Now, Elliot.
Yeah.
We got to get into that sports news.
Right?
Now, you're telling me that there's a lot of fights happening.
Yeah. No, there was. So we're going to cover two things today for the sports half of Taps and Takes. And it is both All-Star weekends because we have the NHL All-Star and the NBA All-Star. Because once upon a time, the NBA All-Star weekend was much watched TV. It used to be the best.
The best?
It really did.
Was it?
Back in the early 2000s, up until about I'd say 2016, it was must watch TV. Sorry,
Guinness gonna get you. Guinness gonna get you. Guinness gonna get you.
And then it kind of sucked. And then 2020, the year they all played super hard for Kobe after he unfortunately passed.
Yeah,
that was probably the last great All-Star weekend and All-Star game. Now, there have been good dunk contests, but that's really just been Mac McClung doing everything he can to make money because he doesn't make NBA money. He makes dunk contest money.
Right.
And he officially hit his three-peat. He won 3 years in a row. And people are like, well, the other guy from San Antonio should have won. And he's like, Mac McClung didn't miss a dunk. He got all of his dunks on the first try.
Right.
That's a winner. If you mess up on your dunk more than once, more than 3 times, you shouldn't even be in the conversation.
Not even in the competition.
And look, not necessarily not in the competition, but not in the conversation of winning.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's creativity and execution. And McClung actually jumped over a Kia.
What? Hold on, dude. I gotta see this.
Yeah. You remember how Blake Griffin jumped over the hood of a Kia?
Yeah.
He jumped over the entire Kia. Just first tried it. It was awesome. Mac McClung's the best dunker in basketball. And, he was like, they asked him, are you going to do it again? He's like, I think I might be retired. But then John Morant.
Wait. Hold on. Let me look at this.
All right, look at it.
This is a white guy?
This is Mac McClung. Yeah. He's won it the last 3 years now.
Dude, a white guy's making us look good?
Real good.
Dude, a white guy is making us look good in the NBA?
I know.
I just watched, what? He just jumped over a Kia.
He jumped over a Kia, man. He's awesome. Mac McClung's awesome now.
Damn.
The problem with Mac McClung, though, is that he's a G League player. So they have to bring him up from the G League to participate in the dunk contest.
Really?
Yes. So you're not getting stars in the dunk contest anymore. A G Leaguer's necessarily saving the All-Star break because the skills challenge has become a joke, so much so that CP3 and Wembanyama cheated, essentially.
What do you mean?
They were purposely missing shots just so they could get through it in record time. And it's like they got disqualified for it. And a lot of people are like, oh, that was smart because you just got through it faster. But also people are like, this is just what the players see it now.
Right.
And then we get
kind of like a waste of time? Almost?
Kind of. Now, let's get to the main thing, the All-Star matches. Now, this year was very special because TNT and the NBA's partnership of 40 years is officially coming to an end. Inside the NBA, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Ernie Johnson.
I love it whenever you say Charles Barkley, you go Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Barkley.
Charles Barkley. And then I believe it's Candace Parker. Yeah. Candace Parker. They all, and Kenny the Jet Smith, they all got teams. Ernie didn't, but the 4 former players did. And they got to pick their all-stars, and it was a 4-team tournament.
Right.
One thing that was actually really good to see, the players actually tried. They actually played hard, which is what you want. At the end of the day, you want the players to care.
And you want them to care, and you want them to play like they're trying to win.
However,
oh God,
the problem with the All-Star break this year was the ridiculous amount of commercials and stoppages in the games because they either had sponsorships or it was to commemorate TNT. And look, Inside the NBA has been the best sports show for the last 20, 30 years, right? Since TNT's had the NBA, those 4, I'm talking Chuck, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny, have been the best sports show since they've started. There hasn't been anyone close to them. Inside the NBA is the best show when it comes to sports. And that's coming to an end. So I understand that you want to celebrate them. Yeah. And they deserve to be celebrated. But when you're interrupting games for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and there's 42 total minutes of NBA game or NBA being played in a 3-hour presentation, fans are going to feel like they got.
Yeah.
And so,
especially the people there in person.
Right. And the players even said, it takes you out of the moment when you're playing one game and then there's a 45-minute wait till the next game. They don't care anymore.
Right.
And it takes everybody out of the moment. And then you got Kevin Hart taking up 20 minutes at a time with not funny television comedy that you have to do.
So you were saying that Kevin Hart was the singular reason why this thing sucked.
A lot of people believe that to be. I don't think that's the only reason, but I feel like at the end of the day, man, we just want to watch the best basketball players in the world compete and have stakes when they play. Crazy idea. We do East versus West All-Stars.
Yeah.
And the winner of the East versus the West, whoever's in the finals, gets home court advantage. What ain't broke doesn't need to be fixed.
Right.
But the NBA constantly needs to find a gimmick to stay relevant. And it's not like money's a problem. They just spent $70 billion with Amazon to get an NBA deal. So they've got the money. They make a ton of money. It's an international sport.
Why do you think that the NBA needs to stay relevant? I mean, basketball's huge. I mean, it's not the NFL, but I mean, it's still huge.
No, basketball's huge and it's an international sport. I mean, the best players in the NBA are international players now.
Right.
But when you don't have fans interested in the regular season, you're gonna lose ratings. And the NBA's got a ratings.
People aren't into the regular season
because
what's wrong with the regular season?
I believe the players aren't as invested anymore. I feel that a lot of them rest more. I mean, the load management problem was huge, I'd say about 2-3 years ago. I mean, Joel Embiid, one of the best players in the NBA, has barely played this year, and that's his biggest problem. He never plays. There's a load management problem. There's a desire problem. And I think a lot of the players now, and this is just from what I've seen, a lot of players now kind of resent it because when you do try and fans don't care still, you're like, okay, well, if fans don't care, why should I care? But it's the other way around. When players care, and this is going to lead into hockey and their All-Star weekend. When players care and players want to represent, that's when fans really get behind you. Look at the Olympics. The NBA might have a ratings problem, but the Olympics basketball was the most watched thing in the Olympics.
But in the Olympics, basketball is always way closer than you think, with the exception of the Dream Team back in the 90s that just crushed everyone.
Right. But I mean, this last Summer Olympics with Steph, LeBron, KD, and everybody playing against France, I couldn't look away because it was so competitive, and there was a pride in their country. There was a pride in playing, and it feels like the NBA now has a pride issue. At least that's from what I'm seeing. Yes.
Question. How long is the NBA season?
82 games.
It's 82 games, but it takes place for a long period of time.
From about October to about June is when the finals typically played and finished.
That's a long season.
It's a long season.
Why not shave off a couple of months off that season so people naturally get more rest and play harder when it counts? Take it from 84 games to 64 games.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's what some people have considered. And
why is that a problem, though? That fixes the issue. It's like the NFL is around for 3 months, basically, right? 4 months?
I'd say September to February.
Okay.
The Super Bowl ends in February.
September, October, November, December, January. So about 5 months.
But there's only
they played 17 games.
17 games
That's
and
it.
then 4 weeks of playoffs.
Yeah. So they get a big break to recoup their body and stay tuned.
And then they get a bye week on top of that.
They get a bye week. And when it counts, because you only get a finite number of games, you have to make it count. We the baseball season is ridiculous. What is it, 160 something games?
I think it's over 120.
120 plus games for 9-10 months. It's like, dude, let's shorten this down a little bit. Let's shorten it down a little bit so it makes it more impactful when it needs to happen.
Right. Well, and the games would matter more. Right. So I get that, but the NBA is also a business. And when you have 82 games, that means venues get 82 more events to load people in.
It makes the ticket more valuable if there's less of them. It's a supply and demand issue.
But it's also, you got to think about their TV now. And a lot of the problems with a lot of people not watching the NBA is because, let's say you and I are here in Fresno. So the teams we would watch are the Golden State Warriors because that would be our local team, right?
Yeah.
Well, you have to get an NBA bundle and a league pass just to even be able to watch the local channels now. I mean, it is.
You can't even watch local NBA broadcasts?
The league pass, which is your best way to watch the NBA, is so overpriced and so expensive.
How much is it?
I can't tell you. I don't have it on the top of my head, but that's a lot of the main issues with fans watching these games is ticket prices are expensive. Everything's expensive now. And then on top of that, your league pass, when you just want to watch your local team, is wrapped in some NBA bundle, and you still can't even find them play. People just aren't going to try and participate. They're just going to watch the televised games on either ESPN, which are teams you don't really care about, or TNT.
Or, use a VPN and then, you find one of those streaming sites. You just watch it.
Yeah, right. But
you could do that.
You could do that, but but that doesn't help viewership numbers and ratings. Right.
No.
So,
well, then maybe they need a cheaper pass.
Right. I agree.
So
the NBA's got a lot of problems, but a lot of people bring it down to the price of the pass with watching and then the players not caring as much. Now we go to the NHL All-Stars, or as it's known as the Four Nations Tournament.
Hold on. I'm still confused as to how Kevin Hart in particular ruined it.
Well, they're saying he just interrupted the action and his jokes weren't funny and very cringe and stale.
Really?
And just when people want to watch basketball, especially competitive basketball, they don't want somebody cracking jokes. Right? And we didn't even talk about Damian Lillard losing a shoot off to a fan for $100K, which good for the fan. Good for the fan. Yeah.
Good for the fan.
Good for the fan.
It was a 3-point, right?
It was half court.
Was it?
Splashed it. It was awesome. Good for him. But I mean, a lot of people are just kind of over the gimmicky NBA All-Stars.
Yeah.
But let's get to NHL because they were the ones that totally outshined the NBA in every way. The Four Nations Tournament goes on, and it is Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the good old US of A. And USA Canada was maybe the most awesome and hilarious enough political game we've seen.
They're like, we're going to buy you, Canada. You're going to be the 51st state, bitch.
And that led to Canadians booing the national anthem, which led to 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of play.
I love that.
So do I. But you know what it is? It's pride. And there was an interview with one of the NHL players that plays for Team USA, and they asked him, like, why do you think so many people were enamored with the NHL All-Star, the Four Nations tournament, compared to the NBA All-Star weekend? It's like, it's because we care.
Right.
You're literally fighting for the people on that ice with you.
Yeah.
You are throwing hands. You're bleeding blood for these guys. These are your brothers. And this is for our country.
I still love the fact that it is still acceptable to let them fight.
Oh, yeah.
You let them fight. In the NHL, like you actually get a section of the game in which they let a fight just happen.
Yeah.
They're like, no, just let them duke it out. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone just steps back and they just, if this happened anywhere else, it would be assault, brother.
Yeah.
But if it happens in the NHL, it's part of the game.
Absolutely.
I think that is one of the most defining factors of hockey in general that I think that people don't talk about enough is like, yeah, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out, whatever. But like the fact that it just is allowed to happen and it is, it can be a swing in momentum in a game. A huge swing. And that we just let him do it. We just let him go for it, dude. Because in any other instance, like a fight would be immediately broken up.
A fight's ejections in any sport.
Yeah. Here, they're like, all right, you just go sit over there for like a minute or two. And then you come on back.
Yeah.
Hey.
So let's recap USA Canada, because that was the biggest game of the weekend. And it also led to USA going straight to the finals of the Four Nations tournament. So Canada got the scoring started from their first goal with NHL superstar Connor McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the USA immediately bounced back from Jake Getzel. He had 2 goals on the game. He had the third goal with an empty net, but he had the first goal to tie it back up. And then we had Dylan Larkin with the game winner, essentially just erupting the stadium.
So for the USA?
For the USA.
Wow.
So we won 3-1, and then Canada beat Finland on Monday to get back into the final, and then we beat Sweden later that evening. So, I mean, we were already in, but we still had to let Sweden know what freedom tastes like.
Yeah.
And so the finals is Canada, USA 2, and that's going to be coming up Thursday. So that's going to be coming up. So when this drops, it'll be before.
But
we know.
We're recording on a Wednesday.
So we'll ask Orc to put the final score down here.
Yeah. And hopefully the USA whoop them Canadians' asses.
That's right. Let them know.
What they don't know is that the Prime Minister, Trudeau, and Trump bet whether or not Canada is going to be the first 51st state on the game. They just don't even know that.
I mean, we would have 51 states then, because you don't bet against America on ice, baby.
So we didn't talk about this on Taps and Takes because it's kind of political, and I know that
this game got kind of political.
Well, look, it could be very polarizing for a lot of people, bringing up Trump in general. And like, I've made my stance clear, and I still believe this. I hate all politicians. I hate presidents. I hate Congress. I hate all of them. So take that for what it is. There was a story that came out that he was accidentally on a hot mic, and he was talking about like, the 51st state Canada thing is like a real thing. It's like, that's not something said to like crack ass or anything, or like just to get news headlines. Like, they're literally trying to convince Canada to join the United States. Like, and I don't know what they were. I think that the whole goal is to like, strangle him with tariffs until it doesn't make sense. And then they should just join as the 51st state. So my question to you is, would you be okay? Because Canada is a country.
It's a country.
And the 51st state of Canada, like,
I feel like you would have to break it into different Ottawa, or would have to be a state.
They have provinces there.
Yeah, so I think you'd make the provinces the state, and then it'd be like the territory of Canada Like we would have the territory of Canada.
Or just break it into like 10 different states, try to keep, does Canada have like 6 provinces or something like that?
4 or 6, something like that.
Yeah.
I would just make those the next states.
Yeah, you make them the next states. But like what I hear, there's a lot of people in Canada that are for it, that are like supporting. They're like, yeah, they're our neighbors, see? Like they're right there. We might as well.
Well, then, does Mexico join? Like, at what point does it stop?
Yeah. Well, at what
because
point?
we already
We
already have the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
So,
do they change it?
I think so.
It's not the Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of America now.
I'm pretty sure. But my thing is like, isn't Canada still technically under the crown?
I
know it's its own territory. I know it's its own country, but isn't it still in like?
I think like there's some weird thing in which that was never
English adjacent,
something like that. Like there's something
which has got to be weird because there's a French part of Canada at the same time.
Oh yeah, French Canada is a big thing.
But that's what I mean. Like you're a part of the English like empire, I guess you want to call it, but you're French too.
Do we have to fight England for it?
Do they? Yeah, exactly. Because we know who'd win.
If history tells us anything.
Yeah, we know a winner when we see it.
We know how that turns out. Case point,
USA 3, Canada 1.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm all for our Canucks to the north being Americans. Americux. They're just watching the United States from up there. It's not that I love. I just think it's, this time around for the Trump presidency is I have not really spent a lot of time and attention on news cycles lately, more so than I did last time. Like last time I checked on it more often. This time around, I'm just kind of like, I'm too busy.
I've only noticed 3 things, and it's getting Canada, getting Greenland, getting Panama back. It's all right.
And like the whole thing around, it's like everything turns it like the Gulf of Mexico becoming the Gulf of America. And I'm like, everything's just America now.
Yeah.
And it's more funny than anything. Now, look, I understand a lot of people think a lot of things are going to affect them horribly. I'm not discrediting that.
Look,
I'm just saying, I think it's kind of funny. I open it up. I'm like, oh, is this what we're doing today?
Look, man. The world's going to you know what? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Might as well laugh at some stuff.
Well, you know what?
Oh,
we do know what.
Orc gave us this pack to break.
All right.
Do you want to break it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hang on. We got some Topps Major League Baseball. Ooh.
It's from the 90s?
Yeah. I think it started in 1990. Oh, no, it might be from the 90s. I don't know. Hang on. We got this old ass piece of gum.
I'm afraid of that piece of gum.
Yeah, that's going to be like a cinder. Oh, nope, it broke. That's 3 times. Okay.
Yeah, be careful with that thing.
All right. Have you seen how breakers do it?
How they do the whole...
Like you got to like slowly open it up in front of the camera.
Okay.
Got to let people know what they're getting.
Well...
we got to know what we're getting.
Okay. Kevin McReynolds.
Okay.
From the Mets.
Ooh, we love the Mets.
Okay. We got a Rob Ritchie from the Tigers.
Ooh.
Okay.
Great mustache, that Rob Ritchie.
We got a Lenny Harris from the Dodgers.
Oh, nice.
Okay. We got a Steve Balboni from the Yankees.
Oh, okay. All right. Right on. You seen any holographic?
Ooh, this could actually be an expensive card.
Oh, let's see it.
We got a Mark McGwire. From the A's.
Wow. Oh,
this is before the roids.
There we go. I don't know if it was before.
Oh, it's before. It's before for sure. We got a Zane Smith.
From
the Expos. We have a Greg Matthews from the Cardinals.
All right.
Okay. Bip Roberts.
Bip
Roberts
love a
from
good
the
Bip.
Padres.
Ooh, Pod Squad.
Okay. Flip these over here. We have a Randy Milligan from the Orioles.
Ooh, nice. Very nice.
Okay. Ken Oberkefell from the Giants. Check the Topps Mark McGwire. Okay, we got a Gino Petrali from the Rangers. Dennis Lamp from the Red Sox. I love Lamp. John Caruti from the Blue Jays. Mickey Hatcher from the Dodgers. Joe Carter from the Indians. This is back when they're called the Indians. Are they still called the Indians?
No, they're the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah. And Astros, Terry Full. Check
let
on
me
the Mark McGwire.
let me see the card. Let me see the Mark McGwire card here.
Okay. This is anyone that knows anything about breaking is looking at me fumble through these cards right now. Like,
well, they typically have a camera on the cards themselves, and then you like.
I don't have the ability to do that over here.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that's how it's usually done. Shout out Breaker Steven. Okay, let me see it.
Be careful with the edges.
Oh. Okay, what year is this? Because this year is the big teller.
1990.
Oh. So there's an 89.
No, this is an 89.
So there's a Mark McGwire's 89 tops. And it's right now used on eBay for $900.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Hold on.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
Hold on.
This is 89. Let's see. 8
Listen.
cents.
Here's the thing. We love taps and takes. We love Groggs, baby. Shout out to Groggs Traditional Irish Pub, the northeast corner of Willow Knees. Come down here. Make sure to remember, in 23 days and counting, we're going to be taking over Groggs, doing our do-over thing live with the whole crew for St. Patrick's Day. We want you to come on out. Hopefully you enjoyed the nerd news. Hopefully you enjoyed the sports news and basically Elliott bitching about the state of sports, so we like that.
That's not true. We were hyping up the NHL.
We also talked
Four
about...
Nations tournament. Awesome. Watch it.
Yeah, and how we're going to absorb Canada to be our 51st and potentially 57th.
Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth stage. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But it's all in the works, baby. But just know that we love you, and I want you to enjoy your weekend. And remember, for the next episode of the Do-Over Podcast, episode number 8, or we'll just go to the naming convention, starts on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Go check out the last one, episode 7. Just can't get a break. It's all up there. All of our links. Remember to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Helps us out. And we love you.
Subscribe.
So until next time, gotta go. Love you. Bye.